right, so let's talk about the next assignment, assignment number 7. All right, so this assignment focuses on structural testing. Right, that's the new topic. But as we've done every single assignment, we're going to add additional features. Right? Up to this point, each team has focused on a particular set of use cases. So, for instance, Team 1 has worked on managing users, managing services, managing categories, and perhaps even relationships between these, where you can create a service and associate it to a category, or provider and associate it to a service. And Team 2 has focused on managing the frequently asked questions and answers, and then Team 3 has been focusing on managing service-specific questions and answers. Yes? So we're going to go back to this a bit. A couple sprints ago, you worked on implementing some screens that had read-only access to some data, right? You had the summary screens, displayed a list of providers, a list of services, a list of categories, list of FAQs and whatnot. You also some of you implemented the details page, right? That again just displayed the details of one particular record, and whatever domain you chose to work on. So we're gonna take that implementation, we're gonna enhance it and add additional functionality. The functionality is going to be CRUD, the create, read, update, and delete functionality. So not only can you read a list of providers, a list of categories, we should also be able to create a brand new one, right? Or update an existing one, change the title here, update some value there, and finally delete. We'd like to be able to also remove records that are existing. Right? So in this document, right, it has a requirements section. Again, just reminds everyone what teams were working in what use cases. In a couple of sprints, we're going to switch this. So each one will work on somebody else's code. And so this is reminding us also that some team members worked on summary views and some team members worked on the details views. Now for the summary views, this sprint we're going to be working on adding 3 new features. Right? One is CRUD, being able to create, read, update, and delete. The other feature is being able to filtering, meaning the list of providers, the list of categories, the list of services, frequently asked questions might be fairly long, right? It might be many, several dozens, maybe in the hundreds. So we'd like to be able to filter. So we'll provide at the top, some filtering input fields where you can, as you type. When you type and press the search, it'll pattern match and only show those records that meet a particular criteria. Okay, and also we're going to add pagination where, again, there might be hundreds of records, and we like to be able to paginate through them, right? And be able to say, well, I only want to see 10, 20, 50, 100 records at a time, and then just paginate one page to the next. So what we'll do is that we'll have folks choose what enhancement do they want to work on. Okay, we'll create tickets for all of these, but we'll have folks choose which one do they want to work on. If you worked on a summary view last sprint, you can choose to keep working on that summary view, and add CRUD capabilities. Being able to create new instances, remove, delete, update. If instead, you want to choose, you can instead choose to add filtering requirements, where you can, be able to filter the results, the list, based on whatever you click on, and whatever values or predicates that you provide. Or you can choose to work on pagination, right, where you'll need to be able to choose how many records you want to have per page, and be able to calculate how many elements, how many pages there are, be able to go forwards and backwards, previous, next. Okay, so that's if you worked on, or if you would like to work on a summary view. If instead you prefer to work on a details view, right? Again, there's choices on what you might want to work on. You can choose to work on a CRUD, right? Create, read, update of that particular record, right? Or create a brand new record, or update that record, or delete that record, right? So you can choose that, or you can choose to do a search. The search requirements where, in that form, you could type in some fields and click on search. It'll return the closest record that matches your search criteria. Okay. All right. Let's see. Right. So you can choose one or the other. Right. Now I have some reference here of what these might look like. So we have some wireframes for the summary screen, and so it'll look something like this. It is a generic summary screen using movies as an example. But the one you worked on probably looks something similar, but it didn't have these buttons on the right. It didn't have the search. It didn't have the pagination at the bottom, and it didn't have the search screen, the search fields at the top. So what we're going to do is this sprint. You can choose to work on the create, update, delete, or the search with the fields up top, or the pagination. Right? You can choose which one you want. This is just an example of what this might look like. You're free to improve on this to make it look something prettier or uglier. Well, not uglier. So just let me just go over what the behavior should be. Here's this behavior. The behavior of this screen is described here, but let me just go over it. At the top, there's a couple of input fields, and that they're used for different things. The meaning of these input fields have different meanings depending on which button you click on. Right? So if you type in the values here for this input fields and you click on the plus, it will do an insert. Right? It will create a new record, right? And the list will update, showing the new record. Yes? If instead you click on an edit button, the edit button will retrieve the actual record from the database and will update the field with those values, right? Giving you a chance to modify them, right? So you want to change the director's name, maybe you misspelled it. Now, if you click on OK, right, it updates that record, right? That particular record, and the list refreshes. So you can see the list always shows the very latest content of all the records. If you click on delete, it removes that particular record. What else? If you type something here and then you click on search, right? It will filter the content so that it shows those records that match that criteria. Okay. If you click on search, the search is going to toggle. It'll toggle into another icon that will allow you to clear the search. Clear the search. I want to see all the records again. Yes? Right? It will refresh anew. All right. So that's an example of search. Of filtering, of CRUD. There's also pagination down here. So pagination, you can select how many records do you want to see per page. So you can select 20, 50, 100 records, and as you select, the list changes, immediately, right? And also, depending on how many items you choose, the pages here changes, right? Because you'll need less pages if you're going to show more items per page. Yes, right? And if you click on a particular item, it'll jump immediately to that page. And if you click on previous and next, right, it goes down to the next page, or the previous page, Oh, I didn't add it as a requirement, but it should show the current page that you're in, highlighted in some way. Okay. Again, you can choose one or the other things to work on. All right, so what I just described is again captured here as requirements and behaviors for that particular screen. For the detail screen, If you click on a particular record here, it'll navigate to that specific detail screen. It will showing the correct record. Also, here the columns, it'll be a subset of all the fields that there are for the records. Whereas in the details page, it should show all the fields, because there's plenty of space vertically to list all the fields, right? But in the details page, you have a couple things. This in prior sprints, you might have worked on on the fields and the labels, right? For this sprint, we're adding these buttons at the bottom. Okay, these buttons will allow you to do certain things. For instance, it will allow you to search a record. Right? So if you type in values here, right, and you click on search, the input fields will be used as a criteria to search for records that meet that criteria. Right? There might be multiple records that meet that criteria. It'll show the first one. It'll show the first one that meets that criteria. Obviously, if you add more fields, the search will be more accurate. Let's see. If you retrieve something, or you're looking at a particular record, you can update it by changing values in that record, right? And then clicking on update. Right? It will go on and update the record in the database. If instead you click on create, it'll take the values that you have in the input field, and will create the new record. Right? If you do a delete or an update or create, right, it immediately navigates back to the summary view, right, to show the latest record you just created, or the brand new updates that you just updated should be reflected in the summary. Or if you've removed it, it goes back to the summary and it shows that record is no longer there. Okay. What else? Right, the search is another feature, right, that allows you to search and update the record that you just searched for. That makes sense? Everybody okay? All right. Let's see. All right, so the requirements document, the requirements here first goes and describes all these new features for the summer view, for the details page view, and also the design for the data model is still the same as we were using a couple weeks ago, so that stays the same. Also, the navigation stays the same, right? Where you start at the admin and you can navigate. One thing that was missing last couple of sprints was being able to navigate from the summary view to the details view. So that's also for this sprint. And being able to select a particular record, right, and navigate to details for that particular record. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so you look at we saw the wireframes. The wireframes are listed here as well for your reference. All right, so let's talk about the planning and some of the team level tasks and the individual tasks. So there is no organization level task, right? There's just team level tasks and individual level tasks. The planning tasks, you're gonna have to meet as a team and run Scrum. Sprint planning and Scrum meetings. At Scrum planning, do a grooming of the existing backlog. There might be some stories there that might be applicable in this sprint. Right? There might be already there some stories that you might have written for doing CRUD operations, for instance, right? Or being able to search. There might be some stories that you might have written in previous sprints, so make sure that you have already these. If you already have them, reuse those stories. If they don't have those stories, write them brand new. Each team member should choose what is it that they want to work on, which screen they want to work on, and which feature do they want to work on for that particular screen. right? Either the CRUD, pagination, or the filtering, or if you want to choose the details or the search feature and the CRUD feature, right? So choose that. Each team member needs to choose at least one enhancement, for a particular screen. Okay. Now that enhancement includes everything, right? Includes working on the front end, whatever React components you need to write or update, the service layer on the React side, the service layer on the middle tier, and the JPA data access in the back end, right? So whatever screen and enhancement you choose, you are responsible for the entire stack, right? So even though you're choosing one enhancement, you might end up with writing several stories, right? One story to deal with the React component in the front end and the middle tier. I mean, in the REST client. Another story to deal with anything that you need to do for the middle tier, and another story that might deal with the back end. Or, right, you can either break it up in you can break it up by layer, right? Or you might want to break it up by feature, right? Where one feature might involve all various layers, right? So you can break it up by feature. Implement the create, implement the update, implement the delete, implement the filter, implement whatever, the pagination. Go forwards, go backwards. Choose a particular page. So choose it by feature, and each feature, right, might entail touching various parts of the stack. Okay, so that's one way you can break it up. It's up to you if you prefer to break it up by layer or if you prefer to break it up by feature. Also, whatever it is that you're building, there'll have to be a unit test associated, right? So you should not check in any code, right, that does not go along with unit tests. Okay, and so we would like to see if in your code reviews, if somebody submits a pull request that does not contain unit tests. We would like to see comments back and forth between the team members that in the code review saying where's the unit tests, right? And say well and also reporting this covers 85% coverage, right? And or verifying that indeed it covers at least 80%, right? We would like to see that in the pull requests. Start rejecting pull requests. You have to say well not rejecting. Go into review or require someone else to increase the quality of their source code. Okay, we're going to be asking for. We're going to start with a low 80%. My guess is that you might not already have this 80%. You might have almost 100% of the algorithms that you worked on for last sprints, right? But none of your controls are being tested, right? None of your repositories are being tested. So that's going to bring down your coverage down, right, to the maybe low 20s, low 30s, even though, right, your algorithms are fully tested. So what this will ask you is that the unit tests that you built are going to need to also include testing the middle tier, testing the controllers. Okay, and we'll see how to do that today. We'll look at some mocking, how to mock a controller, how to mock a data layer service, so that we can isolate the controller and test it individually. Okay, so as a team, come together, go through sprint planning. Again, just like we did for last assignment, create a JIRA story per team. Right, so there should be 3 per organization. So each team will have 1 JIRA story, and in that JIRA story, please include links to any Scrum meetings that you're having, any concerns at the team level, any stories that you created, any epics that you created, any links to Heroku or GitHub or anything that has to do with the team. Okay, sprint planning. right? Uh, um, again, you can decide to have yes.
Did you say when the Scrum meetings you use the Google form to like write notes about Scrum meetings? Can you just say that, or?
Yeah, yeah. No, if it's already in the Google form, then we'll use that instead.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There's no need. There's no way for you to link
Yeah, exactly.
link to that. Yeah, we'll just find you there. Yeah. Right. So have a Scrum meetings, right? A 5 to 10, 15-minute Scrum meeting every day. Log what you did that day. Even if you're not doing anything that day, put it down. Right? We understand that you have many other things going on, but just get into the habit of just logging anything, right? Now, obviously, if you see 7 straight days of not doing anything, then something's wrong, right? But certainly, we like to be able to catch those things, right? So please write what you plan, what you did, what you plan to do. If you have any concerns at the team level, or even at the individual level, please jot them down there. Implementation. So for implementation, again, you're gonna have some work to be done at the front front end side. You'll have to create perhaps components, React components, or you have to modify existing React components to add buttons at the bottom, or buttons on each row, or the input fields at the top, or the pagination at the bottom, right? So you'll need to write a story for that, and so we need to track that. So write a story for that, and write things that you'll probably be doing there. You'll need to probably add the create, the update, and the delete in the service layer of the React side. You probably already have the finders in there already, right? That give you read-only access to the for rendering the summary and the details. Some of these functions, some of these service classes are going to be shared amongst multiple team members, right? And so somebody might be writing, the create, update, and delete, and somebody else might be writing, filter entity, right? And returning the entity, an array of entities, right? Or somebody else might be writing, paginate. Yeah, somebody else might be writing in the same service. So careful, right? That as you are writing this in the same file, make sure that you're not stepping on each other's toes, or that you might be working off of the same branch, so that you're all basically committing to the same feature branch. Or you're working on separate feature branches, but you'll have to merge each other's work from each other's feature branch. However you want to break that up, right? But be careful not to run into collisions, right? That you have to reconcile everybody else's code into the same file. Be careful, all right? Same thing goes for the service layer, right? There'll be equivalent functions that you write in the React client. You're also going to be writing them in the service layer, right? And so again, the same issue. If you'll find yourself that you might be trampling on each other's code, so you'll need to either merge each other's branches or work in a common feature branch. Okay. Data model, probably that's going to be the smallest part of your work. Although if you're doing if you're probably doing the pagination or the filtering, then there might be more work here in the data model. So I might make these all the same, right? Because it's not fair. If you're working on different features, maybe you might get different. Yeah, I'll fix that. I'm gonna make them all 20. Okay. Also, unit tests, right? So you probably already have unit tests for the algorithms that you already built for the last sprint. For this sprint, you're going to be writing much more logic, right? Being able to create new records, delete records, update records, filter, be able to paginate. So we'll need unit tests for all those. Right? And those unit tests typically will involve also testing the controllers, right? The endpoints. Yes? So you're going to have to mock all that. You're going to have to mock all that. So you'll have to build that as well. Also, looking ahead for an upcoming sprint, we're going to ask everybody to create acceptance test criteria. Right. So for any feature that you work on, right? If you worked on create, update, delete, you'll need to create an acceptance criteria for every feature that you worked on. Right. That means that what's going to happen is that when we come back from when we come back from the break, what we're going to do is that we're going to hand off a feature that you worked on in Team 1, and we're going to have it Team 2 test your feature. Right? They're going to follow your acceptance criteria, right, and see if it behaves. Right? They're going to look at your acceptance criteria. They're also going to look at the requirements, right? The requirements listed in this document, and see, wait a minute, your acceptance criteria doesn't accurately capture the requirements in the document in the first place, right? So in your acceptance criteria, you should write very specific, very verbose steps that somebody might follow and verify that your behavior works. Go in and search for so and so, right? And you should see this record. Now type in these values in this input field and press create. You should see the new record now listed in the list of items. Now click on paginate up. You should see this and that and the other. Make sense? So the use case, the acceptance criteria, is going to be used by some other team members to verify your behaviors, and they're going to log bugs against you, right? That if it's missing a feature, or if it's doesn't work quite right, or if it's missing a behavior. You need to also copy the pull request of whatever you worked on, put it as part of the ticket, because what other team members are going to do is they're going to visit your PR, right, and you're going to look at your implementation, right, and anything they might see, they need to come up with kind of like a code review amongst teams. So a team member is going to code review your code, and you're going to code review somebody else's code, right? So if you have any technical debt that you might have accrued over the last couple of weeks, right? They will log an issue. Right? It will be a minor issue. It will be a low priority issue, but something that is going to it's a debt that we are accruing and needs to be paid down at some point. Okay, perhaps towards the end, we're going to have a what is called a hardening sprint. A hardening sprint is that we don't implement any new feature. The only thing we do is just fix bugs, right? Fix bugs, any technical debt that we might have accrued over several sprints, any shortcuts that we would have made, any bad implementations, right? That's a technical debt that we have to pay down. So we'll probably have one of those at some point. Let's see, what else? Deliverables, there are no organization level deliverables. There are some team level deliverables and individual level deliverables, and some references down here. All right, any questions? All right.